not because they should start companies, but because the will to create is encoded in human DNA. The wordings of Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn co-founder. Let me take the pleasure of welcoming you all. A very good morning and a warm welcome to all dignitaries. It is my pleasure to welcome all the dignitaries today for the International Conference on Reinventing Business Practices, Startups and Sustainability, ICRBSS 2021, jointly organized by the Department of Management Studies, SRM IST, Vadapaini Campus, Chennai, India, and University of Niswa College of Economics, Management Information System, Sultanate of Oman, co-partnered by Rakansas. We are so fortunate to collaborate with University of Niswa and Rakansas in hosting this international conference. SRM IST will ever cherish the association with these two distinguished institutions. Every day is a masterpiece, but today is a special day for SRM as our Honorable Chairman and Pro-Chancellor Administration, Sri Ravi Pachamuthu, is celebrating his birthday. At SRM IST, education is envisaged as a journey towards quality assurance through exhaustively created learning situations, and leading us this way is our respected chairman. His incessant zeal and quest for quality has created an innovative environment, not only for the students, but also for the faculty. No wonder the coordinators of ICRBSS 2021 has chosen this golden day to host the prestigious international conference. With this note, I request Dr. C. Prasida, Head Department of Management Studies, SRM IST, and the convener ICRBSS to welcome the gathering. Over to Dr. C. Prasida.
Thank you, Dr. Gayatri. Good morning to one and all. It is indeed a pleasure to be given the most pleasant duty of the day of welcoming such an exalted and illustrious gathering to the International Conference on Reinventing Business Practices, Startups and Sustainability, ICRBSS 2021, being organized by SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Vadapalani Campus, and the University of Niswa, Sultanate of Oman, two renowned universities that dominate the educational panorama. It's an honor to welcome the galaxy of stalwarts who adorn the virtual dais today. Let me take the privilege of welcoming our eminent educationalist and administrator par excellence, the visionary behind the growth and success of this great institution, Vice Chancellor of SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Honorable Dr. C. Muthamal Chelvan, to this gathering. Sir, we are very grateful to you for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. It's an honor to welcome our esteemed Director Admin, Sir Sri Chandrakumar Sir, IS retired, to this occasion, whose experience and foresight have been a guiding light to us in many an occasion. Thank you, sir, for being with us on this occasion. The proceedings of the conference are enriched by the very presence of our esteemed chief guest, Engineer Maqbool Al-Wahabi, CEO, Oman Data Park. We are fortunate to have such a seasoned industrialist and a visionary who led Oman on the path of technological revolution as the chief guest for the conference. Sir, it's a privilege to have your august presence on this occasion. We welcome you. I now take the privilege of welcoming Professor Abdul Aziz Yahya Al-Kindi, Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, University of Niswa, Sultanate of Oman, to this gathering. A renowned social architect, he is single-handedly responsible for turning the University of Niswa into a green campus and smart campus. I extend our warm welcome to you, sir. It is my pleasure to welcome Professor Arogyasamy Susai Manikyam, Dean College of Economics, Management and Information Systems, University of Niswa, to this august occasion. His academic tenure and experience have made this collaboration a highly successful one. Welcome, sir. I now take the privilege of welcoming the pillar of strength behind each and every activity of SRMIST Vadapalani campus, Dr. K. Duraivel, Dean College of Engineering and Technology, SRM Institute of Science and Technology. Sir, you being here is our strength, our inspiration, and our confidence. We welcome you, sir. It is my duty to welcome a good friend and advisor and an academic par excellence, Dr. Kabali Subramaniam, Senior Professor, Arab Open University, to this gathering. His support from the very conception of the idea of conference to its culmination gave us the confidence to go forward. Welcome, sir. I also take this opportunity to welcome the other deans and professors of the University of Niswa who have joined us virtually. My warm welcome is also extended to the able administrators and advisors of our campus, Vice Principal Academics, Vice Principal Examinations, Vice Principal Research, heads of various departments and faculty members, each of whom have extended their support to this conference in one way or the other. I welcome you all. I place on record my warm welcome to the eager academicians who are actually responsible for the success of this conference with their excellent submissions. I'm happy to say that after a strict process of selection, an array of 134 research papers are to be presented today in 5 technical sessions, including a panel for young student presenters. The presenters represent a pan-India participation from states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Pondicherry, and of course, Tamil Nadu. Our international participants hail from Dubai, Singapore, Malaysia, Colombia, Azerbaijan, and of course, Oman. To assess these presentations, we have highly qualified session chairs from both Oman and India. I welcome them all. I also welcome the esteemed speakers of the panel discussion on the conference theme who come from different countries. The panel discussion is to be held soon after the inaugural. I welcome Mr. Prabhakar Murgaya, founder and CEO of TechFetch.com USA, Mr. Warat Al Qureshi, Board Chairman, Omani Center for Skills, Muscat, Dr. Hatim Masri, Dean of Business Administration, University of Bahrain, Dr. Shamim Anwar, Professor, Emmet Business School, Chennai, India, Mr. Patrick Amalraj, Smart Venture Catalyst, Chicago, USA, Mr. Samrat Reddy, young entrepreneur, founder of the very famous Drunken Monkey. Finally, I welcome the audience who are eagerly waiting to witness the unfolding of the academic deluge today. I humbly welcome each and every one of you. Thank you. Over to Dr. Gayatri.
Thank you, ma'am, for your warm welcome address. Strong administration doesn't simply mean rigid structure or an efficient, intelligent apparatus. Instead, it means effective and fair administration. It is the quality of an efficient administrator that decides the value of human resources in an organization. We are certainly fortunate to have such an accomplished administrator, Shri J. Chandrakumar sir, IAS retired, Director Admin, SRM Group, who propels the organization and is the pillar of our campus. He is the person who helps all of us to come out with our best ideas. I request our Director Admin to deliver the felicitation address. Over to Director Admin, sir. Over to you, sir. Director Admin. Thank you so much, sir.
I think he has to unmute.
Yes, sir. Director Admin, sir, you have to unmute. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, good morning, all the dignitaries. It's indeed a great pleasure in participating in a kind of a seminar, which is most wanted one in this pandemic scenario. The topic chosen for the seminar is a wonderful one, an amazing one. The topic is like an international conference on changes in the business practices. To be more precise, it is these changes are very much essential at this situation. We have come across so many industries, manufacturing industries, and also the entrepreneurs who had been failing or who had been halting their business for the last 1.5 years. We know very well that the total economic activity of the entire world has come down. And at this juncture, we must try to reinvent what are the practices which could be implemented or adapted by the manufacturers and the entrepreneurs to come back or to get back to their original economic activity. See, in the government sector, it will be normally said that let us not reinvent the wheel. That means already there will be a process of administration, and that process will be simply followed by the whoever comes as a successor to the government, whether it is a political changeover or a bureaucratic changeover. They will simply say that let us not reinvent the wheel. So what has been laid down already, what path has been laid down already will be simply followed. But here it is not the case. But in this scenario, even the government machinery has changed and tried to reinvent the wheel, reinvent the practices. So in that sense, I would like to say that sometimes the entrepreneurs are so focused on making changes in the customer's front, forgetting their own capabilities and their own company. They never think that that is more important, and they simply focus on the changes, making changes happen in the customer front. Similarly, see the a very striking example, I would say that it is a Kodak, Eastman Kodak, Hindustan Photographic Limited in Uttarakhand, which has been become obsolete because of the competition, because of the technological advancements. This everybody knows. So in this scenario, we must find out what are the, in each and every industry has got its own unique way of identifying their or reinventing their strategies. So those strategies, if not adopted, will become in one fine morning, will become an obsolete. If at all there is any success in a business community, in a business, in any business, that will be only for a short-lived one. It is a short-lived one, only for a very shorter time that success will appear to be. It will not be a real success. So if any business activity like to have an industrial growth or their improvement in their activity, definitely they must reinvent the practices, and those practices which I believe that this forum will bring out. All the bureaucrats or the academicians from various corners of the world have now come and taken part in this seminar, and I believe that this seminar will help the students and the business community or even the government to form the policies in such a manner that the economic activity is not slowed down. See, everyone and every company needs to continually learn from their experience and adapt to a changing world to thrive. Okay, so this is the order of the day now. So whoever they have come across and whatever experiences they have gained in the past business, setting aside or leaving aside the negative advice of the people around, they must adopt the strategies which will bring the business back to the normalcy or back on the track. So with these few introductory remarks on on reinventing the business practices or reinventing the wheel, we must, I leave it to the forum, the well-known academicians of the world to deliver the speech, continue the practices or continue the speech to learn more about that. I will also be one of the listeners in learning so many things from the people around the world who have come and participated in this program. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for reiterating the fact that reinvention is the order of the day. The task of the modern educator is not to cut down jungles, but to irrigate deserts. One such educator is Dr. C. Muthamushelvan, Vice Chancellor, SRM Institute of Science and Technology. He is a professor in nanoscience and nanotechnology with numerous research publications. He has been recognized as Honorable Guest Professor in the Shizuoka University, Japan, since April 2014. His exemplary qualities, such as participative leadership, great networking, member in various prestigious professional bodies, environment consciousness, has taken our university to greater heights. He also heads the institution's Innovation Council and has been instrumental in the creation of SIC SRM Innovation and Incubation Center. The SIIC and IIC fosters the culture of entrepreneurship and innovation in the institution and play a vital role in encouraging student and faculty startups. With immense pleasure and heartfelt gratitude, I request our Vice Chancellor, Dr. C. Muthamushelvan, sir, to deliver the special address. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning to all of you. Esteemed Chief Guest, Engineer Makbul Al-Wahibi, CEO, Oman Data Park, Oman. Our guest of honor, Professor Abdul Aziz Yaha Al-Kindi, the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, University of Nizwa, Sultanate of Oman. My own colleague, Dr. Mr. Chandra Kumar, Director Administration of SRM Group, the Dean Engineering and Technology, Vadapalli Campus, other invited guests who are in the form of resource persons, participants. I extend a warm welcome for this international conference on reinventing business practices, startups, and sustainability in Indian context. That's very, very important. Now, if you look at the startups, they are redefining the Indian economy. India is highly conducive to entrepreneurial activity. Probably you are aware that each and every academic institution concentrates more on this entrepreneurship. Now we have gone one step further and made it an optional for a student to choose a project work or submit a business plan so that he can become an entrepreneur soon after the graduation or during the college days itself. So such a type of trust is very much required in educational institutions. Now, it is highly conducive because it has a favorable demography, it has open economic environment, and the culture of entrepreneurship is picking up in all fronts. India's startup economy has not reached full maturity. Lots and lots and lots in scope still exist for many entrepreneurs to come out. More proactive engagement between startup and established organizations are to be improved. Help startups harden their business models, accelerate growth and leapfrog into the big leagues. Enable established companies to share in the entrepreneurial spirit of innovation agility, which is again an important area which we need to look at. Their mutual success will drive India towards an even more dynamic future. Now, on the other side, if you look at the number one reason for most Indian startups fail, that's because of lack of pioneering innovation. When there is no innovation, obviously, it is going to hit a roadblock. Almost 3/4 of Indian leaders surveyed agree that ecosystems can help accelerate innovation. So we need to improve the ecosystem. Almost 80% of executives from established companies say collaboration with startups accelerates new ideas. So on one side, we are encouraging the youngsters or others to come out with their own startups. On the other side, we should see that they are supported in different activities. And as you know that the present day is very turbulent and uncertain, and obviously change is the only thing. My colleague, Mr. Chandra Kumar, was mentioning about the Kodak, and there are many more examples like you have this Uber and Ola. Earlier, there were a lot of travel agencies operating taxis on call. Now, there is no need to call anybody. There is an app on your mobile phone. Wherever you want, you get a cab, and then that works out cheaper also. Then you can also think of the Ambassador car, which was very much used by Indians, the Hindustan Motor Company car. And of late, we are seeing only very less number of cars on roads. Likewise, you can feel that Nokia mobile phone. Then the other thing, since we are all in education line, we never thought that students will not come to the campus. But what happened? Suddenly, we were all held back. For the first 2 to 3 weeks, we did not know what to do once the lockdown was announced. Then slowly we started engaging the students through online. Students were not prepared to take classes through online. And as a teacher, we were not prepared to deliver courses through online also. So that has become a challenge. But now, after about a year, I think there is some sort of comfortness both with the faculty and students about these online courses. But please remember that maybe by 2030, only very, very, very few students will be there in the campus, and most of the courses are going to be online. So the first challenge for the faculty members is try to convert all your regular courses into an online course. It is not that converting what you simply teach in the class to teach through your laptop or whatever media. It is something more than that. So to that, you need to get trained. And once you get trained properly, you can deliver your courses online. You're also aware that the government of India has mentioned that 40% of the courses in higher education institutions can be done through online. Now they have opened it up to the Swayam platform, but I'm sure at a later point of time, whether they are doing it in Swayam platform or Coursera or Udacity and so on. So the presence of a teacher is very much required to create course content through online and deliver those things in a proper manner. Now, as a teacher, we have been very firm in our duties, in the sense we are not prepared to change. But because of this pandemic, we could see a lot of changes in the faculty in terms of understanding the things, number one, and then take proper decision at their own level and try to do it better. So the same thing applies to every walk of life. Emerging business startups need to be aware of the changing market conditions, changing customer preferences, changing business models, and changing socio-cultural dimensions. Think of the food aggregator. They have been doing a very good business. All along, we have been thinking that having a hotel is a business thing. But being an aggregator, food aggregator, like Swiggy, Zomato, we are able to get whatever we want, and those things are delivered at home. So we need to look at the opportunities and then try to come out with some sort of a plan so that some startups can come up. Such an awareness coupled with adoption of flexible systems allows an organization to reinvent. Now, if your system is not flexible, then obviously you are going to hit the roadblock. So you should be agile in all your practices. We have moved from physical system to a digital system. So that agility is there. And today we don't call leaders, we call them as agile leaders, flexible leaders, astute leadership. These are the things that are coming up now. So a leader should not be very firm. He should be flexible in listening to things and see what's happening around and then take proper actions. Another important area that needs to be focused upon by an entrepreneur is the social relevance of the business. Social entrepreneurship is very, very important. What is that you give back to the society is talk of this era. So social orientation and social entrepreneurship have gained main stage in the present times due to the popular awareness of consumers regarding green products and the need to subscribe to them. Socially responsible organizations are being preferred by consumers as they feel that buying from such organizations makes them indirect contributors to environmental protection. Here, I would like to emphasize that all our students have been doing some project work at the end of their undergraduate program or their graduate program. Let us see what is the social relevance it has got with the society. If it is only for a paper publication, that means we as teachers are not grooming them properly. Please see what is the component towards the social cause. That's very, very important. And I believe that our faculty members should start introducing those things during evaluation of the project. Then the next one is the business organizations therefore need to develop not only customer focus, but also social focus. Social focus, as I said earlier, let us start from the college level. Let us see the projects are focused towards the societal advantage. Then the next one is to say something about the sustainability. Now, in my view, I'm not talking about the industry. In general, there are 5 key areas for sustainability. Unless and until we practice this area, we adopt these things in our day-to-day practice, sustainability is going to be a very difficult thing. Number 1 is the energy consumption and conservation. Number 2 is the resource utilization. Number 3 is technology adoption. Number 4 is packaging. And number 5, waste treatment and recycling. Whatever the business you are in, unless and until you focus on these 5 areas, it's very difficult to attain the sustainability in your own chosen area. So with this, I strongly believe that this conference will deliberate on these topics, and it will be a takeaway for all the participants of this conference. Once they go back, they'll be regenerated, and then a lot of new ideas will flow into their business and they'll flourish. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I wish the conference all success.
Thank you very much, sir. As faculty, we will all gear up to disseminate knowledge through online, taking your advice. Thank you very much, sir. The job of an educator is to teach students to see the vitality in themselves. Today, we have with us a renowned educator, Professor Abdul Aziz Al-Kindi, Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, University of Niswa. He is also the Secretary General of Board of Trustees of the University and Chief Executive Officer of the University of Niswa Investment Fund, which is a business and investment subsidiary of University of Niswa. Professor Al-Kindi is a renowned biological scientist who extensively researched and published in reputed international journals in the areas of physiology, endocrinology, and marine biology. Ever since he assumed the post of Vice Chancellor, Professor Al-Kindi in 2010, he has been instrumental in directing the university towards the academic excellence based on key quality indicators accepted internationally. In December 2013, the University of Wisconsin awarded Professor Al-Kindi with the honorary doctorate degree in recognition of his role as a distinguished and visionary academic leader with an international voice and perspective. We are very fortunate to have Professor amidst us today. I request Professor Abdul Aziz Al-Kindi, Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, University of Niswa, Sultanate of Oman, to deliver the special address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I don't know if I really deserve all this introduction. Thank you. I am really I'm very happy to join you today in this important conference. And I think I will tackle a very important issue, which is that after appreciation and sincere thankfulness to all our colleagues here and our guest honor, Dr. Mahmoud Al-Wahibi, the CEO of Oman Park, the Data Park, and all other dignitaries and our participants, we thank you very much for your valuable contributions to make this conference a success. I would like to bring to your kind attention tackling sustainability and entrepreneurship from a little bit different perspective. I think universities are required now more than ever before. They are really required to realize and probably go into the exercise of self-transcendency, self-actualization, where we really stand. If you all remember that universities started as first generation universities only teaching, later became the second generation teaching and research. And in the 60s in North America and Europe and other places in the world, the introduction of the extension university, where there was a strong call to interact strongly with the community. The interfacial activities were deemed necessary at that time. That's why the third generation university came to exist. I think now we are on the era of the fourth generation, where entrepreneurship is really a requirement, is no longer a luxury or a call. It is a very much core value. And we have recognized in the University of Niswa entrepreneurship and sustainable development as one of our 4 main core values. One of them is academic excellence. The second is research and innovation. The third is quality management and shared governance. And the fourth, which is now the vital need for it, comes to be really front running. I think realization of the need to be a true entrepreneur and a true sustainable development pushing to the frontier as a university is a must. I think there are 2 angles to look into it. One, to really host and become a showcase as a campus. We are no longer we no longer can survive as universities without embracing these two principles. And within our buildings, practices, transactions, academia, awareness, I think we are in need now to relook into all our degree programs and introduce core courses further than before to deal with these, to become integral to this component, to become integral part of our university life. In the University of Nizwa now, we were lucky. We started to build and construct the new campus, our dream campus, in the middle of this change. And suddenly COVID-19 arrived, and it imposed on the university a pressure to embrace, and we have already put together two initiatives within that new campus, the biophilic green campus, the first initiative. It's no longer to call a building green or environmental friendly. Those terminologies are a little bit old now. The term biophilic is becoming now more and more entering into the literature. So we are in need to become more compatible to life, not just in general to the environment. Biophilic campus can reduce the energy consumption to more than 50% and really utilize resources very efficiently. And this will lead to a much better, effective cost cutting and also a more affordable education. I think the realization of the change has come, and all our faculty and universities have learned their lesson. I think we have recovered from the shock of COVID-19 to the realization point that we are in need to embrace, and today, not tomorrow, the change. The second part of it in that initiative of the university is to establish also a smart campus, to work toward optimizing the objectives of the biophilic green campus. But we could not do this also on the academic side without establishing two centers, Center of Entrepreneurship and the Center of Sustainable Development or Sustainability, to transform the change and take it all the way to the minds of the students, the community, the practices, and the staff in the university. I think we have moral now and scientific obligation to the society as universities to really take a lead and bring the change. And with the realization, we do not want slogans. We do not want to be called green, biophilic, smart. These can be really fooling slogans, but it has to be, these changes that we aim for has to be quantified and measurable, and it has to be measurable by scientific tools. I think I would like to bring a little advice to all my colleagues, and I'm sure you are aware of that. To just come out of your university and tour the world and shop for ideas and bring your own ideas and do implement that self-transcendency. Self-transcendency has been there, especially in Sufi Islam, about the realization, where do you stand, where do you stand now, and redefine your future. That's what it is. And I think here we are grabbing a very, very rare moment. And the realization must go all the way, as I said earlier, to our faculty as the grassrooters and our students. If we want success to come and take this awareness to the society. And therefore, I feel that universities will play their expected role in this regard. One example I can give here in the change, the automation of the teaching and learning process, not becoming only on the e-learning and distant learning, but within the transactions of the daily life of the university. And the universities can cut really down more effort, more resources in embracing automation. Without, again, I do warn, without losing the human interactivity. I think there is a lot of strong call for education to become very much distant. Yes, we will go into that direction, but then I do envisage that maybe 20 years from now, or even less, 10 years from now, we'll start to realize that probably blended learning will be the ultimate winner. I think the ultimate solution is blended learning. We cannot afford to abandon being human. That human element must stay there, but we must also rationalize between the change toward complete distance and e-learning and the maintenance of influential leading campuses within the community. And I think that balance will be soon realized. Maybe now we are in our way to realize that. I do at the end call for the universities in general, and I think the community to really more activate that interactivity. I think these centers for entrepreneurship, developing the startups and taking those young to become more skillful toward accepting the challenge to go to the job market is really a must from the sides of the university. Let me just give an example also where in academia we can change and we will feel the resistance from our faculty. But then there we have to make sure we persuade them to accept change. We introduced 2 courses in the University of Nizwa for all the majors, a 6-credit course for graduation project. So every student, whether they are in the translation major or in biotechnology or industrial engineering, wherever, or pharmacy and nursing, they must take this course of a core course. Not all universities, not many universities are doing that. We do realize that equipping the students with the 21st century soft skills are a must along and aside with the hard skills of science itself. And, another example of another course we introduced, 12 credits, and also it is, as far as we know, the first in the region for internship, student internship. Again, we faced resistance from some faculty. They say this is too much to really dedicate almost 80% of the total number of credits for a degree program for student internship. But I think it is worth it. We send our students prior to graduations as ambassadors of change to within the society. Let them stay in a company or a ministry or the industry there and live the atmosphere they will live for the rest of their life. And I think they should start it in the university. We have taken that. We have already passed in the academic council a guideline for the student internship of 12 credits, which will be forcing the student or allowing the student to be hosted in the industry, creating an extra helping hand as well for the industry, a working force. A third and a last point I would like also to draw your attention to, we introduced in the University of Nizwa another measure, another transcript. We are all familiar with the regular transcript, which is taking the credits, the courses, and you get grades, and you graduate, and you get a cumulative GPA, the grade point average. We introduce another system parallel to this. We call it the Personality Development Program. A student will be indulged and involved in a program of voluntary program in a system where they can be utilized, those students, in academic, technical, and even administrative duties, where they take some income, some return, and that will help generate more scholarships and make the university more effectively run. And I think that is also crediting the student in such a quantifiable manner. So at the end, they earn 30 credits of volunteering, dedicated works, so they will earn it. Otherwise, they will not be given the other regular transcript. So they will graduate with 2 types of transcript. Why did we do that? A very important step to really involve the student with the society and let them feel that their parents earned it. they really help the society by bringing them up and doing a lot to the society. I think the young, when they go to the community, they need this awareness before graduation. With this remark, I do again thank you all for convening this important conference, and we hope that very good recommendations will come out of it, and further realization on where we are standing as universities, institutions, and business community in the call for a change as we are embarking now on the new phase of development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving a glimpse about the unique initiatives of University of Niswa in the holistic development of the students. We take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Varat, who has joined us. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us, sir.
I was unmuted. So good morning, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. So I'm deeply honored to be part of this prestigious event and the conference. And I could see the speakers here talking about the changes that are taking place in the education industry. And we are no doubt the same. We have actually academy for skills training in Oman called Harat Academy. So what I like to do is to give you a practical example of how we create a change from this COVID environment. So what I'll do, I'll give you a little bit of a practical example. I think I've heard from the keynote addresses talking about how to bring entrepreneurship into the daily lives of education, and also how to adapt technology to work with the new world that we have. And we have no choice now, but that has to be adapted. So if you allow me, I will share a screen, and I'll give you probably 10 minutes sort of a practical example. So I'm just going to share that screen. Yeah. It's disabled at the moment. Can you share the screen for me, please? Hello?
Rasida ma'am. Rasida ma'am.
Gayatri madam, I
Yes,
think
sir.
Yes, ma'am.
you can just, yeah.
Yes, shall
You
we
can go
have?
to the studio.
Okay, no problem. I'll speak, I'll just generally speak. I just had one diagram to explain to you.
Mr.
Anyway,
Varik,
Sir.
Gayatri madam, you can inform.
Yes, sir. Shall we have this presentation now or after the chief guest address, sir? Whatever
okay,
you
okay,
yes.
That's fine, that's fine. So what I'll do,
yes, sir. Yes,
I will
sir.
just give you a very practical example. During the COVID, of course, and all the educational institutions, there was a lot of face-to-face training. So what we have done is very simple. We have just had to move from face-to-face to blended learning in a very short time. So what we did have to do is set around this discussions and actually said, look, how can we do this? So we have to adapt, first of all, how can we actually mimic the face-to-face training with the blended learning? So that's something that we immediately did. We organized the students and skills training through the blended learning. So adoption of technology is very key when it comes to pandemics like this. And then also at the same time, I also agree with the learned scholars that you cannot go away from face-to-face training. So it is important to have a blended learning and also aggregation and innovation that you have to bring in your daily traditional programs, because those traditional programs will never work. So you have to bring in a sort of aggregation of different skills into the students' sort of practical examples. So to me, that's something that I felt that was very important. We had to go through this process, And with that process enabled us to be sustainable and manage to do whatever we were doing before in a very relatively short time. So unless you actually create a new innovation without adapting to new technologies, you will struggle to do whatever you've been doing before. So that's all I wanted to explain.
Yes. Sir, can I go ahead, sir? Kabali,
Yeah,
sir,
please.
can.
Yeah, please, please, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Wahid, sir. Now I hand it over to Dr. M.N. Prabhadevi, Associate Professor, Department of Management Studies and Coordinator, ICRBSS 2021, for the release of the conference proceedings. Over to Dr. Prabhadevi.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma, please go ahead.
Very good morning, one and all present here. This is our privilege. The conference proceeding is a peer-reviewed publication with ISBN number, which contains a collection of 134 peer-reviewed abstracts and papers, which are received by ICRBSS 2021 from prominent academics, professionals, young researchers, and students in the field of innovative business practices, startups, and entrepreneurship. We are very much proud to announce the release of conference proceeding now. We kindly request our Honorable Chief Guest, esteemed Vice Chancellors of both universities, SRM Institute of Science and Technology and University of Niswa, to click the link which is available in the chat box for releasing the proceedings of ICRBSS 2021. I'm sharing the link now in the chat box with your permission. Yes, ma'am. Can you see the?
Yes, ma'am.
Chat box link is available. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We request the Chief Guest and Honorable Vice Chancellors, please click the link and inaugurate our conference proceeding. Thank you very much, sir. Ma'am, shall I share the screen now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. We have information about the authors.
Yes, ma'am. It is going.
Yeah. We can just have a glimpse of the various messages and the articles. Just a glimpse. So the ICRBSS. Go to the messages now. Go to the messages. Yeah. This is the front page of the ebook, and the invitation, the editors about SRM IST, Department of Management Studies, about University of Niswa. Prabha, I hand it over to you, ma.
Yes, ma'am. About the departments and about our directors, about our chief guest, the chief guest message, our director sir's message. Our dean sir's message. Our vice principal's message. And the number of abstracts we have received for our conference. There are 134 abstracts we have received for our conference. Everything has been published in our ISBN number conference proceedings. Stop sharing, ma'am.
Okay.
Over to you, ma'am. Gayatri, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing the proceedings of the conference. This is the best we could do for the virtual release of the conference proceedings. Thank you very much for your patient sharing. The next agenda. A good leader inspires people to have confidence in the leader. A great leader inspires people to have confidence in themselves. Leadership is not about a title or a designation. It is about impact, influence, and inspiration. Impact involves getting results. Influence is about spreading the passion you have for your work, and you have to inspire the teammates. Today, we have with us one such great leader, Engineer Maqbool Al-Wahibi. Welcome, sir. Engineer Maqbool Al-Wahibi is the Chief Executive Officer of Oman Data Park, the first managed and cloud service provider in Oman. He is a part of the executive management and the founding team member to establish ODP and has been instrumental in developing solutions tailored to address the banks, financial institutions, oil and gas sector, healthcare, government, education, and professional services sector. Engineer Maqbool has more than 20 years of diversified experience in ICT engineering, software development, business startups, and leadership. He holds a master's degree in computer software engineering from the University of York and an MBA from Strathclyde University, UK. Engineer Al-Wahibi was named as Technology Person of the Year at the annual IWA Awards in 2018, which also gave Oman Data Park the Excellence for Global Cloud-Based Services in 2019. ODP is currently serving around 600 corporates ranging from large size to mid-sized and small companies. I deem it an honor and privilege to invite our chief guest, Engineer Maqbool Al-Wahibi, to deliver the inaugural address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, thank you for the introduction. I don't think I deserve all what you said, but then we're trying to do our best in these circumstances that we are living in, be it from an economical or health perspective. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very much glad to be among all of you, academic and researchers. Without the inputs that we normally get from you and the guidance and the mentorship, all what we're doing wouldn't be possible. So we are actually very much glad to the education industry and the R&D industry in the way they are guiding us towards the best practices, towards how we maneuver around circumstances like the one we are living right now. Actually, the message here would be more towards a practical message coming from the grounds of market stimulus and market dynamics to our colleagues that are graduating from different institutes in the world. I think what I've learned personally is more towards how to structure entrepreneurship and make it more practical, make it more feasible, make it more happening. And we normally guide ourselves with three things. And those three things are basically the what, the how, and the where. So when it comes to what, I think it's very much important for our young entrepreneurs to focus more towards what value are they going to bring to the market, and what kind of problems are they basically solving. And that is very important in the business sector. You know, there are many good, nice thoughts around the globe. There are great technologies pushed to us in a you know, frequently in a daily manner. We get very much attached to those thoughts, but then we have to be careful not to get too in love with those thoughts and with those basically nice to have technologies, and because some of them might be might not have the market sentiments or ready culture to embrace them. And basically, a lot of companies fall on that trap, and basically they fail to execute further. So it's very much important to understand what value are we bringing to the market. And that's exactly in 2012 when we thought about Oman Data Park, and we thought that the market is actually in need of cloud services in this particular area. And the good thing is that legislatives were very much on track with us and demanding a localized cloud-based infrastructures to, as much as possible, disallow any internationalization of data movement because of the confidentiality and data privacy. So that's again a problem that we managed to solve, and that's what we managed to excel. So it's very important to actually understand what problems are we solving, and the other side of the story is the how. And when it comes to how, we need to very much understand the business models, and basically those business models has to be in fit with the circumstances that we live in today. I'll give you an example. A lot of companies that were existing pre-pandemic have not managed to actually, go through the circumstances, and a lot of them have closed or shut down because of the rigidness of them having to, change courses and change business models. It's very much important that business models have to fit with the market dynamics. Very important that the business models have to fit with the circumstances again. A lot of these health matters, pandemic had forced a lot of organizations to go online, have forced a lot of organizations to embrace e-commerce in order to sell their products online. And those who have managed to maneuver quickly and with a great agility have managed to make it. Others were very much slow towards having to electronize a lot of their merchandise and position it to the market in an electronic manner, online manner, have failed. So that's just an example. Of course, the idea is here to fit the idea with the business model. And the third aspect that it's very important to keep in mind for entrepreneurs is the how, and that's basically to more towards the feasibility studies and more towards getting themselves in geared up to when it comes to where are we going to get the money from, and is that thought with that business model going to create any fund for the organization to be able to sustain. A lot of us fall on the trap that there are great thoughts, great technologies. We might have also a good business model that fits with it, but the market might not be ready for it. And every market dynamic is different from another. Although we are living in a globalization world, but still there are cultural impacts. There are other economical kind of circumstances that might delay the launch or the existence of a particular thought. A nice example I always give: if a same let's say startup, if we do an exercise and the same startup happens to come up from the Silicon Valley, for instance, and the same thought come up from the Indian continent, from India, and again we have the same thought from Oman. Although it's the same thought with the same business model, but because they exist in different markets, in different cultures, they don't necessarily excel. It might excel in the Silicon Valley, but not in Oman for some reasons to do with the market dynamics, to do with the market sentiments, to do with, again, the cultural readiness of that particular product and service. So again, a lot of our entrepreneurs get very much in touch because they listen to a lot of these examples from across the world, and they think the same example can be actually imported from a different continent, and it should work. It doesn't have to work. And I'm not saying it wouldn't, but there is a chance that it
Ma'am, are you able to hear, ma'am? Prasida, ma'am?
No, ma'am, I think
No.
that's...
Can somebody, Dr.
No.
Prabhadevi, can you just
Yes, ma'am.
inform?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing.
Yes, yes. So, Chief Guest, sir, you have to unmute yourselves.
very sorry for some
Yeah,
reason.
okay.
Last
Okay,
1
sir.
minute, yeah.
Yes,
I
sir.
was-
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
By the technology itself.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
that,
Yes,
that is something we have to live with.
yes, sir. Yes.
The last
Now
minute, just 1 minute, I just want to summarize what we're trying to say here as a message to our entrepreneurs. It's a triangle, and those triangles have to fit. And those triangles start with number one is what we're trying to solve as a problem. Number two, do we have the business model that fits and the feasibilities that can generate income? And number three, are we in the right market? And that's very important. And with that, I would thank you all for inviting me personally, and it's an honor again to be among you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for taking us through the journey of Oman Data Park. Gratitude makes sense of your past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. To express our sincere gratitude, I request Dr. M. Prabhadevi, Associate Professor, Department of Management Studies, SRM IST, and the Coordinator of ICRBSS 2021 to propose the vote of thanks. Over to Dr. Prabhadevi.
Thank you, ma'am. If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. A thankful heart is not only the greatest virtue, but the parent of all other virtues. I deem it a privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this special day. Needless to say, but this is a momentous day in the history of Department of Management Studies, as this is our earnest effort in hosting an international conference, ICRBSS 2021. On behalf of the Department of Management Studies, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, and University of Niswa, and the entire fraternity, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, esteemed Vice Chancellor of our university, revered Vice Chancellor of University of Niswa, and all our eminent dignitaries for gracing this occasion. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. We have been fortunate to have such a participative leader, Honorable Vice Chancellor of SRM Institute of Science and Technology, who is always driving the vision of the university by initiating path-breaking ideas and devising strategies to transform the university to global standards. Sir, your thoughts have enlightened our minds and shown us a new path. We are grateful today for delivering the special address. We are certainly fortunate to have such an accomplished administrator, Mr. Chandra Kumar, IAS retired, who propels the organization, and he's the pillar of Vadapalani campus, our director admin, SRM group. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing the occasion. The technology entrepreneur, the instrumental in Oman's digital transformation and smart revolution, the market leader, engineer Maqbool Al-Wahibi, CEO of Oman Data Park, the esteemed chief guest of the day. He is the apt person to inaugurate our conference. Thank you very much, sir, for having rolled out our flagship event. A special mention to the Vice Chancellor, University of Niswa, for being a catalyst and the person who behind the inspiration and guidance for bringing the universities together for conducting this conference. We extend our sincere thanks to Professor Abdul Aziz Al-Kindi, Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, University of Niswa, for enlightening us with your visionary thoughts, and profound knowledge for gracing this conference. A great teacher is not the person who supplies the most facts.
Prabha Devi, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
There is a network issue. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
A great teacher is not the person who supplies the most facts, but the one in whose presence we become different people. One such person is our Dean Sir, Dr. K. Duraiveru. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. Thank you very much, sir, for your support and encouragement for all our academic endeavors. We would like to express our sincere thanks to all the panel members and the moderator. Our thanks are due to the various chairpersons who are going to chair the various technical sessions today. The success of any conference depends on the participants. We sincerely thank the delegates who have been participating from various countries globally for taking their valuable time and ensuring their virtual presence here. We express our gratefulness to Director Communications who have supported us in making this conference virtually possible. I'm very much thankful to the sponsors of this conference. I'm sure that our conference will contribute to get generous support from various organizations in the future also. A special note of thanks to our Dean, Faculty of Management, Dr. B.M. Ponaya sir, for continuous support and guidance for conducting all these proposals. And our sincere thanks to all our heads and faculty members of the various departments for gracing the occasion with their presence. I would also like to acknowledge the press and media for their support. Let us all work together towards tomorrow to achieve grand goals. Thank you so much, one and all. Thank you so much. Ma'am, over to you, ma'am. Gayatri, ma'am.
Thank you very much, the dignitaries, for joining us. You have kickstarted the international conference. We have a long way to go. After this, we have the panel discussion and competing technical sessions. Prasida ma'am, what is going to be the next agenda, ma'am?
I think we can ask all the participants to wait till the dignitaries leave,
okay,
so that we can go over
fine
to the panel discussion.
Oh,
Thank you one and all for being here.
Thank you, ma. Thank you all.
All the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Wish you
you
all the
very
best.
All the very best. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
All the best. All the
Good
best.
luck. Thank you.
Very much. We wish you all the luck. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think the panelists are already here. Mr. Samrat Reddy, welcome. Patrick Amalraj sir is one of the panelists here.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm privileged to be here.
Hatem Masari sir.
Sir is here. Samrat sir is here. Samrat sir has come.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Mr. Varat Al Qureshi.
Ma'am,
Shamim
Dr.
ma'am.
Salman, sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Welcome, Shamim ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Very nice to have
Pleasure
you.
to be with you this morning. Thank you so much for the invite.
Deeply honored to be with you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Varat. All the panelists are, if say you want to discuss anything, or we can start off with the process.
I think we can start off.
Yes. The in charge can take over.
Hand it over to Dr. Sukanya madam, in charge for panel discussion, to take over. Over to Sukanya ma'am.
A great morning to one and all present here. Big day. It's being said that a small cheer and a great welcome makes everything.
Dr. Suganya, your voice needs to be a little louder. Voice.
It gives me an immense pleasure in welcoming you to the International Conference on Reinventing Business Practices, Startups and Sustainability for the academic year of 2020-21. So it aims to publicize knowledge and encourage academicians, research scholars, students, corporate and public sectors to come together under one roof to share, seek, deliver, and discuss decisive aspects of their works. The online hosting of ICRBSS promises to encourage quality research in different areas of business practices and entrepreneurship. It facilitates the purpose of knowledge transfer by enriching the career of the research fraternity, empowering decision-making in the corporate sector, and promoting quality decisions for policymakers. This panel discussion has a vision of transforming and setting novel standards for better people engagement, promoting international exchange through research, and bridging study to the industry. Today's panel discussion creates the platform to address the need for researchers to showcase their work to the outside world and contribute towards constructing a meaningful future in the academic ecosystem. I am glad in greeting our rectitude speakers of the event who are versatile in their field of work from corners around the globe. And down the line here comes our respective HOD of the department, Dr. C. Prasida, followed by all our beloved professors and faculties of the Department of Management Studies. Now, I cordially request our HOD, Honorable Dr. C. Prasida, for the address of felicitation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Sukanya. It is indeed an honor and pleasure to welcome all the dignitaries who have come here for the panel discussion. The panel discussion is the essence of the conference today, because this will encapsulate all the different ideas which come from different, not only different nations, but also from different backgrounds. It is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Prabhakar Murgaya, founder and CEO of TechFetch.com USA. Sir, thank you very much for being here with us. I also welcome Mr. Warith Al Qureshi, Board Chairman, Omani Center for Skills and Skills Muscat. Sir, we are eager to listen to you and also to see your presentation. I'm very sorry we could not accommodate it in the inaugural session, but yes, it would be indeed a treat for us to listen to it now. I welcome Dr. Hatim Masri, Dean of Business Administration, University of Bahrain. So welcome, Hatim sir.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much, sir. I welcome Dr. Shamim Anwar, Professor Ahmed Business School, Chennai, India, who's a very good friend, and also has accepted to play the role of the moderator today. And then I welcome Mr. Patrick Amalraj, Smart Venture Capitalist, Chicago, USA. It's much beyond your time of going to bed, but thank you so much for being here and being with us to share your knowledge and experience with our participants. Then I welcome Mr. Samrat Reddy, who is not new to the campus. In fact, we had the opportunity to interact with him physically when he came to address our students as a part of the CEO series that we host in the college. He has been an inspiration to a number of startups which have actually taken place in our campus. A very young, dynamic entrepreneur, founder of the very famous Drunken Monkey. The name is very special to him and to us also, because it's only because of him I went there and started and got hooked up to the smoothies. So welcome all of you. And I think you have been interacting in a separate forum as to how to take things forward today. So without much ado, let me leave the platform to you. Thank you, all of you. Over to Suganya.
Thank you, ma'am, for the very passionate address. Coming to the crux of the today's panel discussion, here comes Dr. M. Kalaivani, ma'am, to introduce the podium speaker, Mr. Warith Al Qureshi. Over to you, ma'am. Kalaivani, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Very good morning to all the speakers. It is my pleasure to introduce our one of the speaker, Warith Al Qureshi, Women Center for Skills Development, SOC, Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. In the wise word of Mr. Warith himself, working together with the right people not only unleashes an organization potential, but also helps in consistently delivering high performance. Currently, he is leading a group of 3 companies with various international partners. He is also an executive director and entrepreneur of the Al Safa group of companies for the last 26 years. He has diversified the company in the strategic sectors, including oil and gases, logistics, and supply chain. As an entrepreneur, he has successfully built a number of ventures such as the Shell, the Signature Logistics Integrated Service. He had built a media communications and technology company from scratch. He is continuing his ambition of building a strategic portfolio of companies, services, and has achieved a step change in partnership acquisitions with leaders such as Lockheed Martin, US Defense Corporation, Pearson Educational Corporation, and many other strategic partners. Mr. Warath has 32 years of experience in the oil and gas industry, working with the petroleum development Oman, especially Shell, the largest producer in Oman. He has mastery in various fields, including logistics management, passenger service, aviation, vehicle fleet management, project design, and many more. Thank you, sir, for your presence, and we are eagerly waiting for your speech. Over to Suganya, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Incredible introduction, ma'am. I request you to share the opinion on the theme which has been provided to you for the conference.
I couldn't hear that. Is that you're asking me to say something?
No, sir. I'm asking you to share the theme. Share about.
Okay. Sorry, you want me to share with you the experience that we've had and this and that?
The session theme, sir.
The session theme.
Conference theme.
Would you like me to share? I didn't hear that very closely. Can you repeat again, please?
I request you to provide your opinion on the conference theme, sir.
Okay, fine. First of all, I understand that very well. Thank you very much. First of all, sorry for the confusion last time round, because I kept in the wrong timing. I got my timings wrong between India and Oman, etc. So my sort of mindset was completely distorted. So anyway, first of all, I'm very grateful that and also very honored to be part of your panel. And I would like to just to say that I think the conference is very relevant to the current situation right now, particularly that the pandemic has taken place, and now that people have to adapt to different marketplaces and different technologies to enable them to continue with their business. So as far as I'm concerned, the theme of the conference is extremely appropriate at this moment in time. And we physically see that we have to change the way we are doing business and the way we deliver our services. And it's something that also what we have to think about is that daily interaction with people will never be there anymore. So we need to make sure that we blend during the interaction and the technology. So that's the theme. I feel that the theme is very right, and I think we should go for it.
Kanya, madam.
Thank you, sir. Now I coordinate Kalivani ma'am to introduce our speaker, Mr. Patrick Amalraj.
Again, a wishes to all the speaker. It gives me immense pleasure. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our speaker, Mr. Patrick Amalraj, Smart Venture Catalyst, Chicago, USA. On completing his BE in electronics at Bhatyar University, Mr. Patrick holds a TOGAF certification in enterprise architecture and is a certified business architect, also a certified product manager from Product School, which is a global leader in product management, training, So he is having a 20 years plus years of experience at various firms. He played a key role in launching customer-centered technology for 22 major clients, including many in Fortune 500. Some of his architect publications were The Forgotten Manifesto, Everyone is a Provider and Customer, are all the very famous articles. Mr. Patrick is a startup mentor and architecture, and was honored by the Bank of America a Spirit Celebration Award. Thank you, sir, for your presence, and we are eagerly waiting for your speech.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, I'm not worthy of a lot of praises, but yeah, so thank you. Thank you for having this, inviting me for this panel. Just, I wanted to just touch base a little bit on the discussion that happened prior to this, where the two of the chief guests talked about, the Honorable Vice Chancellor who talked about the importance of self-realization and how they have incorporated that as one of the kind of curriculum for the university. And then the CEO of Data Park, he talked about the triangle. I think that these two can be merged. And I kind of help specifically on startups on how to innovate new markets. And out of the sustainability, one of the core themes was adoption. And that kind of relates to the fact where one of the panelists, one of the chief guests was talking about, where you got to know what market you're playing. So whatever product or whatever problem or solution, it very much relies on the market. You cannot take just a product or an idea from a different market and just directly apply to it. And that's where self-realization comes in the picture. So I would say, where he talked about the three triangle, where he talked about the problem and the product and then the market. I would actually make that as a prism, where I'll put one more layer to it, and I'll call that as adoption. And then the person, in this case, an entrepreneur, is standing in the middle of the prism and actually looking around it to first understand what is the market problem, what is the market product, and what is the market itself, what is the market opportunity there. Those are three things. And then how much it'll be, what is the adoption case here? So what is the adoption chances here for that particular product and the solutions? So if you see, we talked about, a lot of people were talking about change. Change is a new process, and for every startup or every new venture, the change is what is the fundamental thing. You're actually expecting a customer to change his behavior. It could be a small buying habit, or it could be something that they're doing. Usually you're asking them to do in a different way. So that's a change. And a lot of people are not susceptible to change. They're very comfortable in what they're doing. Even if they're problematic, they're like, I'm happy with this problem, right? So, but then even in that market, there are people who are actually desperate for change. So as an entrepreneur, that's the market point of view, where you spot the opportunity by looking at who is actually desperate for change within that particular segment that you've identified. I think when you have that, lot of localized innovations happen. A lot of things that we can derive examples from, but our telecom revolution in India is a great example, where some of the creative productizations that happens in the telecom market. For example, the prepaid card. Like you watch a movie and you get this many, or you pay this much, you get a movie for free. This probably maybe not now. Maybe I'm talking about 15 years back when like everybody was starting to give data plans for free. The type of productization that was created, it was more of a viral nature that it kind of took that entire telecom, the new data-driven technologies to the mass market. in India. And I live in the US for more than 22 years now. And I can tell you some of the things that has been done in the Indian market don't exist here. It's basically our choices, for example, in the cell phone, or it's very limited because it's still a little bit of monopoly here. But then that I call that as market-driven innovation, because what has been done there is not just for people who can afford a smartphone or a data plan. I'm talking about 15, 20 years back, where only few people can afford a data plan. But then there was a wave that came and then gave the data completely for pretty much free. It's cheaper, in India than data is cheaper in India than here in most of the telecom providers. So that basically bringing that mass market to bringing the market focused change to in a way that to non-consumers, basically people who we think are not the ideal customers, right? Coming up with innovative ideas to take that concept to reach that non-consumers, that is market innovation. So identifying opportunities for that, like somebody had also pointed out earlier, that there's plenty of opportunities in the Indian market, as well as a lot of these emerging markets, to identify what is a localized, concept that can create that pull mechanism, rather than you pushing a product. You're like taking from a different market and trying to push a product. Rather than that, think of ways to pull these, new change, people who are looking for change, or the non-consumer market. So pull versus push, that I wanted to highlight. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Dr. M. Kalevani ma'am to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Sam. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Samra Reddy, founder of Drunken Monkey, India. He pursued his engineering graduation from SRM Eastbury in 2006. So we are very proud, and we would like to invite our alumni of SRM group of institution for this forum. He went on to pursue his MBA specializing in marketing from the University of Strathclyde in the year 2008. He started his career as a test environmental engineer in Infosys, Melbourne, Australia. He went to become the director of operations and marketing at Hestia Studios in Chennai from 2008 to 2012. Meanwhile, he was the director of SVS International, a leather manufacturing firm in Hyderabad from 2008 to 13. He worked with Delta Steel Structures Private Limited as GM operation for a year in 2013. He joined Sindhan Designs Private Limited as a business strategist and HR. With all the experience he gained, he founded Drunken Monkey in the year 2016. Drunken Monkey is a chain of smoothie bars headquartered in Hyderabad, India. Welcome you, sir, for this forum. We are waiting, sir, for your speech.
Thanks a lot, ma'am, for the very generous introduction. So I think people who have listened to the introduction would have been a little surprised, because there are a lot of changes. Every 2 years or 3 years went on to do different things. And one of the most important thing about this conference and what we are going to discuss in this conference is about how to adapt to change. So for me, when all these things keep happening, I look at them like it's falling right into my forte, because the only thing which has been constant with my career has been change. And a lot of people would have also asked me, like, okay, with all these varied experience which you have in different fields, why the hell did you start a fruit shop? So I mean, they call it a fruit shop. They don't call it smoothies initially, until it became a little bit more famous. So see, the point here is the business logic of every business is the same, irrespective of whether we sell computers, or whether we sell bricks, or whether we sell stock market. It's about how our other esteemed guests have told, like Patrick was talking about, identifying change and you, the entrepreneur, being in the center of the prism. So it's always about identifying. I would like to probably add on to him, and because a lot has been already said. There's nothing new, I would say. But like, for example, it's about what he said, like how you identify the change required in the market and who wants a change. And at the same time, how do you match it with what is your competence? That is the next thing I wanted to add on to him, because what happens otherwise is you just follow the crowd and you try to do what is popular, but it might not be your competence. So how far you can go with it will not be satisfying to you as an entrepreneur. Maybe as a job you can manage, but as an entrepreneur and as a business, you need to go there 100%. You cannot be at a 90% efficiency rate. So it's very, very important, as much as you study the market outside, you also understand what are your strengths as yourself and what are your weaknesses. And weaknesses are not a problem at all. We should never look at weaknesses as a problem. Whatever you have a weakness for, you hire someone else to do it. You don't need to do all the jobs. And eventually, even for your strengths, you're going to hire someone in a business. It is the most important thing is that we need to get out of the culture we have in school and college, where a weakness is something negative and strength is something positive. Here, there are just skill sets and what is required for a particular thing. And obviously, you need to have some skill sets to match what you're going to do. And everything else, you need to have a really good understanding so that you can keep the right people at the right path. And when it comes to identifying change, you need to again look at change in a very positive way, like how the others were telling it too. Because the only reason you're in business is to provide something new. It's provide something which is not there, which means you are the change. So when you see change, you look at it positively. And when you look at it positively, it looks as an opportunity. And we have been growing up as kids, like wherever we see change, we don't like it. We want something standard and stabilized. But business is not that. Business is all about change. And the last 2 years have shown us that whoever have adapted faster to the change still have a chance to survive. Whoever have stuck up with not being, with whatever is happening, it's very difficult to survive. That's just the intro I wanted to give, and we can go ahead, ma'am, if that's okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And next, I would like to welcome Dr. Suganya to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Prabhakar Murukaya, founder and CEO, techfetch.com, USA. Suganya, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Prabhakar Murugaya is an Indian born, settled in the USA. He completed his electronics and communication in engineering in the year 1993 from the National College of Engineering, and he worked as a technical consultant from 1993 to 2002. In the year 2002, he became senior economical architect in AOL in Washington, D.C. He worked as a technical consultant with various Fortune 100 companies from 2004 to 2007. In the year 2007, he founded techfetch.com with a vision to create a global community of technology workforce and provide them with opportunities by global technology solutions. Prabhakar sir has 20 plus years of experience in the field of digital transformation of talent acquisition. In the year 2016, he took charge as chairman of Silicon Valley Tech Park in Tirunelveli. In the year 2018, November, he was awarded Confluence Excellence Award in London in recognition of TechFit's impact for helping millions of candidates finding their jobs. In 2020, January, he became the board member of TIE DC, which is an NGO for fostering entrepreneurship in Virginia. He is passionate about mentoring rising entrepreneurs and founders. As an angel investor, invests primarily in early stage SaaS products and companies. We welcome you, sir. Sir?
Ma'am, I think sir is not here, I think. The meeting.
Probably dropped.
Maybe
he was there. No, I saw him just then.
Probably dropped.
Yes, ma'am.
He's there, ma'am. He's there.
Yes.
Sir, Prabhakar sir.
He's on mute.
We could do one thing. We could go to the next speaker and maybe wait for sir to join us. In the meantime, let's try to get in touch with him.
Yes,
ma'am, Kalaivani ma'am, please go to the next panelist.
The next speaker, Dr. Suganya ma'am, will introduce Dr. Hatim Azari, Dean of Business Administration, University of Bahrain. Suganya madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Hatim Masri is Professor of Business Analytics and Dean of the College of Business Administration at the University of Bahrain, Kingdom of Bahrain. Dr. Hatim worked very hard when he was in University of Tunis. He was extremely diligent and he gets work done very efficiently. He's also a very good researcher in his field and involved in many academic projects, including the organization of conferences, workshops, and the editing of books and journals, peer-reviewed special issues of journals. He is the president of the African Federation of Operations Research Societies, AFROS, and Dr. Hatim received a PhD in Management Science in 2004 and Master in Operations Research in 1999 from the University of Tunis, Tunisia. His research interests include business analytics, supply chain management, financial engineering, and Islamic finance. He published more than 30 articles and 6 books, among them a textbook in Islamic business administration. Dr. Hatim is the president of the African Federation of Operational Research Societies, founder of the Informs Bahrain International Group, general secretary of the Tunisian Decision Aid Society, member of Informs and IEEE, and volunteer mentor with the AACSB, and also a director of quality assurance and accreditation in the College of Business Administration. Few of the awards and scholarships secured by Dr. Hatim Masri. In 1996, he secured Tunisian scholarship for master studies. In 1997, he was awarded top honors of operations research from the Institute Superior de Gestion, University of Tunis. Lastly, in 2003, he was awarded Best Research Paper in the ISCII 2003 conference held in Hammamet. So we are extremely delighted to have you with us today, sir. Few words from you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for this introduction, and thank you for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be with you. There is a huge time difference where I am now between India and Tunisia, but I'm really happy to give back to University of Niswa and to my friend Dr. Arukasani and all the panel who are here. I really appreciate all what had been said during the inaugural session, what I heard from plenary speakers. I would like just to note that we are moving fast. We are moving faster than what we all expect. And what we are observing now is just the impact of the third industrial revolution. Startups and all these things that we are now facing, and it seems that to be really fascinating world. Unfortunately, it's part of the past. We are moving toward the fifth industrial revolution, where we have to collaborate with machines. We are talking nowadays about smart engines, smart things, smart machines. Our next innovators and our next startup directors could be a machine located in China, like the tremendous machine that we discovered this last month in China, one of the world's strongest neural network I ever seen. Machine has a lot of capabilities to beat. Then I think that for us, we need to think in a different way in business education, and I will focus on business education. We have to think in a different way. We have to operate in a different way. We have to adapt our curriculum. We have to change things. We have to talk the new, we have to give our students the new skills, the new competencies, and the new knowledge needed. Mainly, if you remember, the third industrial revolution, or the organization system of the industrial ages, like Taylorism, value, efficiency above all things, resulting in machine-like culture in which work relationships were expected to be a product of top-down direction and often led to the formation of silos. More recent organizations, systems, for example, like circular structure that we implemented in, at least I'm using it in the University of Bahrain, in my college. It's to break the silos with formation of more autonomous teams. And this is what we are seeing nowadays with these people who are taking the leadership to go with the IT project, etc. But Industry 5.0 will make the organization, and you can see now how they operate, Facebook, Google, etc. Creative people who are creative, they come and work to create a more personalized and human experience for workers and their customers. I think that the future, we need to teach our students the power of relationships. It's an incredible power. I agree with one of the speakers who were talking about relationship and human relationship, because this is how we are going to move in the coming years. We are going to move to more relationship-centered organization that advance business relation management capability and focus on people, purpose, and planet. And this comes the word sustainability. And we have nowadays countries, they are following the 17 SDGs. It's very important not just to think about wealth, not just to think about revenue, but to think also about sustainability. Then all these needs to be included into our learning, in our way of doing things. I think that we are moving away from transactional methods of instructions toward the more relational approach to learning. We need to reduce the class size. We need to offer a mixed learning experience. Students from science, business, engineering, they should sit together from different also ethnicity, from different cultures. I think that also something that we need to think about is the proportion of foundational courses that are designed around lectures and high stakes exams. Maybe this needs to disappear, all right? Because there is no need for that. People now, they can watch on YouTube and get information, or they can go to Coursera and get free course from reputable universities. Then all these courses, I think, that are useless. Also, we have an increase in the number of teachers. Then large lectures will be replaced by small groups with ever more robust and immersive virtual environment. And also, we need to engage on both curricular and co-curricular activities to develop human skills. I think that the most important thing that we need to teach nowadays, or we need to prepare our young entrepreneur, our young people, are human skills. Human skills, the skills we use to relate to one another. Someone who possesses strong human skills is likely very adept to impact and to do a lot of good plans. For example, for startups, you can have good ideas, but if you are not having the right human skills, like communication, understand the body language, empathy, self-awareness, growth mindset, you will not succeed. That's why when we teach these skills, or when we embed the skills in our lectures, in our activities, all right, we have to show students that they can receive feedback, they can incorporate constructive criticism. It's very important. They know how to create a plan, right? They can brainstorm these plans with their mentors and also practice. In fact, the curriculum, the future curriculum, we are going to move away from this structured curriculum where students, they have to go through a predefined path. We are going to go for more personalized curriculum. It's a new wave of liberal arts. I think that what makes the difference between humans and machines are the philosophy, arts, history, and we need to include this into not as a special course, but it could be embedded in different courses here and there. Ethics, and ethics is very important because otherwise man and machine can destroy the world. We are going to get more used to different e-learning platforms. I know that so many people in universities, they are excited and happy to run their programs and curriculum online, but this is maybe needs to be adjusted because the new e-learning platforms, they are moving very fast. We have new innovative tools like simulation games, etc. And maybe, who knows, that we don't need the physical campuses. We don't need the new campuses, big campuses. We learned from this COVID-19 that physical offices, campuses, etc., are no more in need. If I would like to say something about how education will change in 2030, I think that we are moving back to roots. You know, the first university in the world, I know that some people will say it's in China, but let's say that the first university, and I'm proud to say that, it was in Tunisia in 738, all right, and then in Morocco, and then in Egypt. And we are going to go back to roots. I think that education should be offered soon for free. Learning as lifelong and over. We are going to move from learning for a degree to learn on demand. Human side of management is very important. It's not what you teach, but how you teach. It's very important. Ethical behavior. I think ethics should be there. Whatever the source of ethical concerns, it could be in India or it could be an Arab country or Muslim country, then please focus on ethics. It's very, very, very important. Then we need to teach students the importance of ethical behaviors. Sustainability also, it's very important. I think that, as I mentioned, focusing, we need to balance between the three fundamental dimensions: environmental protection, societal progress, and economic growth. Nowadays, we are focusing more on economic growth, but the two other dimensions, society and environment, are not there. We need to take care. As you mentioned it today, the employability and entrepreneurship also, and this is the topic that we are discussing in this conference, is very important. But it's not just for young people, even for those who are serving as CEOs. It's important to come back to the school to get additional knowledge, because in a fast changing environment, speed and entrepreneurship is something business leaders have to continually learn and hone. And finally, let's say that our role as a teacher is moving from that sage on the stage, to more mentor, guide, philosophers, all right, rather than instructors. This is somehow, I don't want to take a lot of time. I know that we are about to finish the session. Just to tell young Indian and Bahraini who are attending the session that the future is yours. It will be different, completely different. You may not start a big company. You may not share a big company, but you are going to spend your life on earth for some years. Enjoy your time. Try to discover. Try to use your human skills. Shake hands. For the moment, you cannot, but at least exchange words, brainstorm. And as I mentioned, as always, I mentioned, If you don't have a network, it will never work. Thank you. That's all for myself.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful insights. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Suganya Madam to introduce our moderator, Dr. Shamim Anwar, Professor, Amit Business University.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. A. Shamim has completed her BCom from Lady Dock College, Madurai in the year 1981. She is an alumni of Department of Management Studies of Madurai Kamaraj University, 1983. She has completed an advanced postgraduate diploma in management research from All India Management Association, New Delhi in 2004. She was also awarded a PhD in management from Aligarh Muslim University in collaboration with All India Management Association, New Delhi in the year 2011. More than 35 years of experience and have served in various capacities. Dr. Shamim ma'am, accredited financial education resource person by Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI for Southern region. She has regularly conducted financial education programs on behalf of SEBI for different target groups. She is presently a resource partner with Pagdandi Edusal Private Limited and is conducting investor awareness programs for college students, which is sponsored by Bombay Stock Exchange. Dr. Shamim ma'am is also an accredited resource person of the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. He has so far conducted more than 30 programs on behalf on account of her association with the above for various categories such as college students, working professionals, NGOs, and retired people. We are extremely delighted to have you today, ma'am, as a moderator. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suganya. I'm really honored to be here amidst all these eminent personalities from the industry and from the academic world. I really feel it an honor and a privilege to be the moderator for this international conference organized by SRM Institute of Science and Technology, the Department of Management Studies, Vadapalli campus.
Shamim ma'am.
Ma'am? I think her network is low.
Shamim ma'am.
Dr. Shamim, we the flip side of technology.
Yes.
The best part is I have so many participants across the globe participating, taking time out despite the time zones and being here to discuss an issue. But the flip side is the connection is lost. That's it. The connect also will be lost.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I lost connection. I think this panel discussion is to be taken as a conversation that is definitely the need of the hour. As already pointed out, we know that the last 2 years have brought about a paradigm shift, and that has not only affected businesses, but transformed businesses as we know it, and hence bringing with it the need to reinvent and recreate our business practices. Much has been said about the post-pandemic boom, like our silver lining in these chaotic times. But how we are going to bring about this shift in the economy? How are we going to bounce back? I'm sure this panel discussion would help us in bringing answers to such questions. And we have our industry and academia experts. I take great pride in sharing this virtual stage with these esteemed panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Ma'am, you can take over the session, ma'am.
Yeah, right. Who would be the first person who would speak the same order that we had as they were introduced?
Not necessary, no, ma'am. You can go
Not
by your own order. You can go by your own order.
And Perhaps then I would like to call Mr. Prabhakar Murgaya, who's joining us all the way from USA. Thank you, sir. And without further ado, I request you to please take over. Thank you.
Ma'am, I think sir is not here, ma'am.
Oh, he's not there. Okay, fine. Then maybe we will go with Mr. Warid Al-Qureshi. Sir, may I please request you to take over?
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me and I'm not cut off from the technology. I think today is another day that we have to adapt very quickly. Again, I'm very honored to discuss a few of your experiences. I've heard a lot from the keynote speakers, and I've heard from our noble panelists. And I think what I'd like to do is give you a quick overview of how we applied it in the real world post-pandemic. So if you allow me, let me share a couple of view graphs to discuss that. Is that okay?
It should be okay, sir. Kindly continue.
Yeah, it's just that it doesn't allow me. So maybe you allow me to share.
Ma'am, Prabha ma'am. Prabha ma'am. Sir, 1 minute, sir. Just a minute. Prabha ma'am, please allow sir to share screen.
Okay,
Yes,
anyway, let us adapt because like everything else, we have to apply it in the real world.
What am I supposed to share?
Give a share screen, ma'am. Permission to sir.
Okay, okay, ma'am. We are ready. I will inform to the technical support, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
1 minute, okay.
Okay, in the meanwhile, let me keep on talking because otherwise we will wait for the technology to sort it out. So when it's ready, let me know. But anyway, the important thing that I think everybody's been talking about, when a pandemic like this, that nobody's expected, is a shock wave, not only in Oman, but right around the world. It's come very, very quickly. And in these sort of situations, the processes that we already had may have been very rigid. We were doing face-to-face training, for example. And then how do you adapt when you have a complete lockdown? And this is something that we've experienced here in Oman. And I'd like to share that experiences with you. So the first thing is that what happened is that as soon as the COVID crisis came through, we could not reach our candidates for training. No face-to-face training was allowed. And that went on for a long period of time, like 6-7 months. Now, if we didn't adapt to the new world, it would have been impossible to survive. And I think Patrick and quite a number of other speakers here have said that if you cannot adapt to change, you will not survive. So the problem was that we could not do it the traditional way. So we had to group ourselves and say, how else can we do it? What tools do we have, et cetera, et cetera. And I think, luckily, like a startup, we actually started thinking about new methods of doing it. And the first thing we all know is the online learning. But then the way we were doing it was all face-to-face. So how do you adapt to online learning, a little bit of interaction with them, materials, etc. We had to readapt to everything to make that happen. So in a long story short, is that we then looked at 3 strategic things. What we were doing first was the training for employment. So we continued with that training for employment because that was practical, is at the work site, etc. And we could just talk to them, discuss with them, etc. in communication by verbal, telecommunication and a little bit of a webinar tools. Then we said that we must change.
You can
Yes?
share your screen now. Your access has been given.
Okay,
You
thank
can
you.
share the screen now. Yes.
Yeah. Can you see that now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyway, so really, this is what I was going to talk about: innovation post-pandemic. As I said to you, during the COVID situation, we have to first think about how we will sustain the business post-pandemic, how we can continue the business, as I was just talking about, our brand reputation, and then business resumption. Okay. So, and I was just coming in telling you about the strategic approach that we have taken. We thought some of the things that we did, we can continue. Some things that we could not do, we did it with the blended learning, etc. And then also we innovated something different because we felt that the SMEs and other sort of opportunities are coming in. I remember Patrick was talking about that the marketplace has changed. So the market is now the SMEs and the ones who go and do the last mile delivery and all those sort of things, which have been coming to the fore. So we said, well, the marketplace requires SMEs to react very fast. And how can we develop their competencies to enable them to perform in a competent manner in a new world of post-pandemic? So simply, everybody has to go through this complex technology. We created a solution called the Al-Kafila model. It is simplistic, try to help them to navigate all these sort of complex technologies. Simplicity is what we wanted to bring into the SMEs. And then, of course, those are the things. So basically, we decided that we will design this platform, and this platform will bring all the customers, service providers, service partners, and regulators in one. But then, how can we make these people competent in the ones that you see on your right-hand side? So what we did was design a business model that will reach out to SMEs and allow them to operate competently. We started pre-qualifying them. So it's a completely new model, and also it's a startup model that we actually did. And we've adapted our face-to-face training into something completely different because of the situation that we had. So anyway, what also we saw is that we could actually create value to the marketplace, which is in the oil and gas industry. So we could actually create almost 700 jobs in this new way of doing business. And also we thought we would be able to impact about 200 SMEs here as well. So what I'm trying to say is that the pandemic has happened. There's nothing we can control. It's a force majeure, but a business had to adapt to the new world, to the new marketplace. And if you didn't do it, then basically you become redundant. So this is what I wanted to share with you, that it is possible to make change. It is possible to adapt to the new technologies. It is possible to continue your business, maybe even better. Actually, what we were doing before and what we're doing now is probably 3 times as much, because we innovated a business model that was not there before. So yes, it was a tough time, but coming out of it, it's actually exploded in the size of the market. Okay.
That was actually perfect, sir. I mean, a very professional way of reaching out to how technology can actually work favorably towards creation of impact. Excellent. Dr. Shamim?
Shamim, ma'am?
I think there's so much of learning and listening to you, sir. Thank you so much for all that. Okay, now can we call upon Mr. Patrick to share his ideas, please?
Do you have a context question for me, or in general?
Can I ask you something, Patrick?
Sure, please go ahead.
as something maybe which could add to the value of the discussion that is going on. Of late, we've been hearing about, not of late, actually, if you look at it from a theoretical point of view, from long time ago, we've been having agile technologies. But of late, I'm hearing of jobs called Scrum Masters, and the Scrum hand holding that happens in agile technologies or company adopting agile technologies. So carrying on with the inputs given by Varat sir, how do these agile technologies actually work out? Have any idea that you can throw light on?
Sure, absolutely. So the software development life cycle followed what we call that is a waterfall methodology, starting from more sequential process, and then as more and more frequent updates are required, they sort of try to kind of merge that into, can we just quickly do all the rounds, the full cycle, instead of waiting for a month, can we just shorten that period? That was kind of the birthplace of the whole agile concept. But then the problem, so everybody went on automating things, everything was fun, and they were happy. Oh, you know what, we don't need 10 people, now we can do it for 3 people. Everything seemed to be good for a moment. And then they realized that when everybody needs to see, when you actually shorten the time frame and then do things faster, it requires more collaboration. It requires everybody in sync. Everybody should be the same mindset. Everybody should be having the same knowledge level. So many things are coming into play there. So that actually created new set of problems. So that's why they came up with this like bunch of best practices on how to do agile. And there are projects that are stellar examples of agile failures in the marketplace. And there are also examples on how successful agile projects are as well. So certainly, it's basically how faster you can do an update to a code or deliver a feature or understand customer issues and then deliver immediately, because people want instant gratification. So the agile concept is now extended beyond the software development. It's also even used in customer satisfaction and things like that. But overall concept is the same: how faster we can provide a good customer experience for any kind of product or feature. But so there is a lot of tool sets that are that have been created for the agile process to make it work together, like how we are collaborating now for ideas. So that kind of created a set of tool sets that people can learn and find agile jobs. And also the Scrum Master is where he's the coordinator. They need to be a holistic view person. Not everybody cannot be a good Scrum Master, because this person needs to, number one, need to be a master in people collaboration and things like that. So they really created that kind of role. They understood that technology and automation is good, but then there has to be a real human element that actually connects all this to make it more successful. So that's the kind of the short. So certainly, I think Agile is here to stay. I think the introductory discussion about how the founders, entrepreneurs, CEOs, leaders need to be more flexible in adapting to market changes, in decision making. So certainly the agile principles can be learned and applied in different way. One thing to learn about agile is that I would recommend people to go and Google for Agile Manifesto. The Agile Manifesto is written with completely a human experience in mind, but then we humans are always like focused on productization, and we try to take that and try to create automated products with that. But the focus is clearly how humans can collaborate, communicate, coordinate efficiently.
So maybe one word would be Scrum is the human element in the techno context of agile. We say that?
Yes, you can say that. Yeah. it's like a ballet. There has to be an orchestration
Thank you, ma'am.
process.
Please take it.
This agile collaboration, I suppose, would require a lot of thinking to be put in before it is actually implemented, because all the mindsets of people should be brought to a common forum. Only then things would happen. Can I say that because we've gone online, it has become an advantage, or is it a disadvantage?
Good question. There are pros and cons. So yeah, I mean, it kind of applies to education world also.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, it's almost like the self-realization comes in the picture there. Even if you talk about a technology project, you got to know what stage you are in. So that's why the story is a big thing in Agile world. They call that as a user story. So in one way, the storytelling becomes more efficient because as humans, we communicate with stories. Even it could be some task that we did today, or something that we learned today in the course, in the college. But then that has to be, the ability to convert that into a communicatable story is very important in that process, because humans at the end of the day, we understand and communicate with stories. So that's why I would, so the user story becoming a core thing there is one thing that we can learn from the importance of human element playing an orchestration role here with this whole process.
Thank you. I suppose we can now move on to our next panelist. May we have an opportunity to listen to Dr. Hatib?
Yes.
Yes, sir, please.
It's nice. I wish you all the best. India has great potential to become one of the leaders on earth. I can see a lot of young entrepreneurs taking benefit of what is going on and trying to develop and integrate. It's a great really opportunity. World is becoming so small that people in United States and India can meet despite the connection problem that may happen in reality. We may get a car accident while coming to your meeting, but it's much better to connect, to meet each other, and to develop our human skills. If I have something to say that the future, I think that Patrick and others, their key success is their ability to communicate their point of view, to sell their product, their ideas, things that they are doing, and to be able to use the correct body knowledge, etc. Then it's very important. I hope that young Indian, young also Omani, who are here also with us, they will learn from that the teacher will be transformed from the instruction way of guiding students and telling them the truth, in order that at the end of the day, they will shake their heads and say, yes, this is old. They need to criticize. They need to express themselves, open their mouth, and exchange ideas. And as I mentioned always, without network, it will never work. And that's why I'm joining you in this network, just to learn from you and to see how things are moving on. And I'm happy to say that it's moving in a good direction. And I'm really happy to see that. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for those thoughts. Now, can we request Mr. Samrat to kindly share his ideas?
Thanks, ma'am. Very nice of you to give me the chance as well. So there's one more thing I want to add on to our speakers, whatever we've mentioned till now, is see, it's important for us to understand technology and see how technology can help us go through these changes and stuff. It's also important to realize the fact that sooner or later, every of your competitor and every business is going to use the same technology. And unless that technologies which are developed by you in specific, I mean, I'm specifically talking about technological changes brought about by the pandemic. So there are certain companies which have taken the cue faster and certain companies which have taken it later. But eventually, in a year or two's time, everything is going to even out, because whoever's going to survive are going to use more or less similar methods in their fields to make up for the changes which are happened in the world, especially the meetings and whatever we use for technology. So the important thing for leaders and entrepreneurs would be not to lose focus on the main thing of the business, which is the core of the business. And the core of the business is the decision making. And decision making again goes to adapting to what's happening again and again and again. So in a year's time, 2 years' time, there's again going to be a normalcy. When there is a normalcy, how do you step it up? How do you step up your business model above everyone else? Because you might have been the first one to take up technology and made some progress during the pandemic as well. But when things normalize, you need to be ready with the next plan. You need to be ready with what is the differentiating factor now when everyone else is using the same technology. And that's very important, which I wanted to point out. That's about it.
I think you put it very beautifully. I suppose very soon, I don't know whether we're going to have the third wave or we're going to go back to normalcy. We're all keeping our hands crossed.
Got it.
Okay, so very good. I suppose that's something which every company should really think about. Okay, we're always thinking now only about how we could continue to make ourselves more effective given this pandemic situation. So you brought out a very nice point. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can we now, as Sir join, ma'am?
I don't think so, ma'am. We can continue with the existing panel.
Okay.
There should be some problem with his technology or whatever.
I suppose so. Okay, I suppose we've been sharing our ideas. So perhaps if anybody would like to add more to what a panelist has already contributed, we would be more than happy to listen, please. I think we've had it from we've been looking at it from different perspectives. We've had people speaking to us from different countries, from different sectors. So it's really been a very interesting, value addition. So if somebody would like to add something more to what has already been discussed, or maybe we'll also have to see whether we have any questions in the chat box. We could also request our audience, if they have any questions on the chat box, we could take that up for discussion. Can we have the opportunity of checking, ma'am, whether there are any questions?
Actually, we have not initiated the chat box for the audience.
Okay, maybe if they want to ask questions also, we could do that.
I don't think that's we'll open up the chat box, but in the meantime, maybe the panel could go ahead with a discussion. Actually, I wanted to ask Mr. Samrat.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Yes. First thing I'd like to say is you changed so much. I almost.
I told you, right? Change is my second name.
Remember you seeing like a young boy, and now I have a very, very grown-up professional here before me.
No, it's just that I don't color my hair anymore.
With what? Sorry. Can I?
No. Carry on.
So what Mr. Patrick was saying about, we were talking about the agile organizations. So, and the narratives, he was talking about the way we are developing narratives and the importance of human element. In the pandemic period, within your business, what has been the point of, regeneration, recreation, to deal with the situation or to manage it in a more successful manner? So any specific example you could give us?
See, what I would say is something when like as big as the pandemic comes, and for a business, for people who have already been successful in certain things, or for a business which is being successful at certain things. The most important thing, and the most important thing even for me personally, was to accept that things are going to go bad. Sometimes you fighting it head on is going to take more out of the company or more out of the business than first accepting it. So accepting a change or a business downfall, even if you don't like it first, might open up certain things which you never looked at. Because what I mean by acceptance is looking at the downfall also in a very balanced way. So if you look at that in a very balanced way, you will start looking at it even maybe with a different viewpoint, and you might come up with ideas which didn't exist beforehand, and you might look at options and opportunities which did not happen before that. So see, for us, it was more about, I mean, because we are in the F&B industry, and it's about people going out and spending time and eating out and stuff like that. Obviously, there will be nothing much we can do about it. But still, the moment I personally accepted that, yeah, this is what is happening and what can we do, it immediately told me, I mean, the situation told me that this period of time of 6 months or whatever this time when nothing much is going to happen, it's like a blessing in disguise where I can work on all the things which I didn't get time to work on in the company itself, where I can make sure that certain things about the menu can be done much better, certain things about a supply chain can be done much better, all the back end work, which always required our attention and we never had that time to do because it was not the most important thing at that point of time. So that 6 months, instead of us sitting and crying about the situation and worrying about when it's going to open up, if you look at it where, okay, you have this, like, it's like you have the exams, like, man, and you might give like 10 days study holidays. It's not like you'll keep the class till the last day. So that 10 days is when they will put in all their effort. So that is what probably the pandemic made me look at things a little differently, and it made me revamp a lot of things to be ready for what's going to come up. And that was an exciting period for us because it suddenly felt like we were back in school or college, where like we need to prepare, and it's not like a daily thing which is going on. You need to prepare for something in the future. So yes, there are hardships, yes, there are the things, but if you are able to look at things balanced, what it taught me is anything and everything, whatever happens, no matter, even if tomorrow your company is in a very dire state or you might even lose it, you still need to be able to learn how to look at it balanced. I know it's a very tough thing, and even me, I am still learning, but it will, it's not just about being balanced just for the sake of mentally being okay, but it gives you a vision and it shows you opportunities which you will never see otherwise.
If I may ask you a question,
Yes.
Mr.
Yes,
Samrat,
ma'am. Yes,
since I'm interested in supply chain, how did that supply chain, activity change on account of the pandemic?
So what we realized was, see, we have outlets all across India.
Okay.
And we had a central supply system. So there were a lot of things. For example, if we have more than 50 items or 60 items to provide to a place in Mumbai, and we have most of the items going from one place here. So every single place, about calculating what is the cost of it, because it's the cheapest here, it goes from here, but the transportation cost and everything you add on. So for every single item, we were able to go and say, okay, fine, it's costlier here, but it's closer there. So for every single item, there are 20 permutations and combinations. But we had why we couldn't do it earlier was that we had to deal with every vendor and approve it, and then put it in the form of the process and everything. Now we know for every outlet, there is a different vendor for a different product, based on the availability and the cheapest price, and also the cost of transportation. So to do that process, it's a time-taking process, because it's not just about the calculation, but also the back-end process of dealing with the vendors and getting the supply chain set. So this gave us that time where we can micromanage every single item and every single outlet and still align it to the best possible way.
Perfect, perfect. In fact, I would just like to ask a little point here with your permission, Shamim ma'am.
Sure, ma'am.
So Samrat was giving us a view from a functional strategy point of view, but Mr. Patrick deals more with the corporate strategy. if I'm not mistaken. That is taking decisions at the top level to go for. So how did that work out for you? I'm really interested to know.
The corporate structure.
No, that was for Mr. Patrick.
Patrick,
Okay. So I think Samrat pointed to a very good point, which is, I think the first earlier he's talked about how to really understand failures, or if we think that phase is oh my God, whatever we planned is not working out for some reason. So how we even approach that, otherwise his point, taking a step back and see what we can learn from this. And then we call in the entrepreneurship term as fail fast to succeed. It's better we came across this sooner than later. I know it was it came unannounced. That's one problem. But still, what can we learn from that? That kind of is applicable across board, whether it is a small business or big corporates. But then, from a corporate standpoint, it's again spotting the opportunity there. So I was going to ask Samrat, was he tempted to deliver smoothies online or like direct to home? So that was my question for him. But because corporate people usually think that, okay, so this is a problem, how can we convert that into some kind of big opportunity for us?
Yeah, so my temptation was like, see, online we are already serving. It's just that our expansion, we kind of, with this pandemic coming in, our expansion was stuck because you don't get to go to a place, see a location, or you don't get to set the supply chain for it. So what this did for us was the opportunity which we took on was we made our expansion without any limitations. For example, we cut off all the physical requirements from the head office for any new outlet opening up. So we made every single unit self-sufficient in stuff of if they want to start or if they want to move. So what this has given us is it's given us a worldwide approach. Now there is no reason why I can't talk to you after this call and say, listen, I want to start up smoothies in the US. So can you help me? Because we are ready. Because it's the physical distance is not anymore going to stop us to go to new places. So that's one opportunity which came up through difficulty because we couldn't do it the normal way. But then, like you said, like we have to survive, right? So eventually, after the sadness, we will look at it in a different way and we'll have to figure out a solution.
That's amazing. So you learned quite a bit then. It basically was a blessing then for you. Now you are more confident as you've come across that phase on dealing with, anything in the future, as well as just it kind of opens up a different perspective for you. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's the same with all of us, right? So that's why we chose this field, because else we wouldn't be businessmen. We would definitely I think one important factor of people who get into business is they like it. They like this factor of not knowing whether it's going to be successful or not. Yeah, uncertainty is something which you need to like. So I play a lot of sport. So I play sport only for one reason, because you don't know whether you're going to win. If you know you're going to win, why would you play? So that's the same thing with business, and the same thing with a lot of things which people tend to go. Certain people go here, certain people go there.
That's such a beautiful answer. Kabali sir, you're on mute. Sir, you're on mute.
Okay, so that's a beautiful thought, Mr. Samrat Reddy. It's interesting. It also aligns with another very interesting thought. As an entrepreneur or a startup founder, you need to always have a discovery mindset, they say, rather than fear mindset. So they try to compare fear mindset with discovery mindset. So this is what is all about. We need to, in fact, particularly like universities, we need to develop that kind of mindset. That is where the the attitude comes in, as well as the thinking, right kind of thinking. How we are going to, as a founder, how we are going to use one way of looking at is the whole world's resources is yours. Yes. If you are able to convince the world. A just simple example is SoftBank. When the SoftBank was launched by Masayoshi Son, if I remember right his name, he just made the story goes like this. He made a presentation, 15-slide presentation, and he got around 10-12 billion dollar investment, just 12-slide presentation, which means there are enough resources in this world. So it is, you need to have the mindset and the knowledge set and the skill set to go out and make use of these resources, right, for a win-win situation. I think that will make the world beautiful. Thank you. Wonderful thought, Samrat.
Mr. Patrick, I have another point to make. I really like that, point that you made regarding looking at the market as a prism. That was very meaningful and very interesting to listen to. And Mr. Simran, if you can tell us how you went about revamping your brand during this pandemic situation. Was there a need for you to do that?
Not really, actually, because see, I felt as a brand, when we came into India, our brand was more suitable for the US at that point of time, because we were into smoothies and more of healthy drinks about 5 years ago. What the pandemic has done is actually it's made people more aware of how health and wellness is important. See, because a small thing of a virus, which we can never see, and it's so small and so insignificant, can affect us so badly, which means that it's not about taking a vaccination. It's not about going and wearing a mask. Initially, if we were more healthier, I mean, the whole human race, if you see, about 200 years ago, it was much healthier. But right now, it's not the same, because we've given importance to a lot of other things over health. So the whole point of Drunken Monkey from the beginning was about giving, not doing anything special. It's about going back to nature. It's about very, very simple things like fruits and whatever we used to have about 10 years, 15 years ago, even in our homes in India. Right now, we don't, because we're all very busy with other things. So it's very simple things which we wanted to teach. We wanted to teach, not teach, but we wanted to teach from a company's point of view. It's like you don't need to do anything special to be healthy and to be happy. You just need to have a smile and have a normal food and spend a balanced lifestyle. So that is exactly what Drunken Monkey stands for. And what the pandemic has done is it's told everyone the same thing. You don't need to really do anything special. Just be normal. You'll be happy.
I'll tell you one thing which is very special to me from Drunken Monkey, and that's your bottle.
Yeah,
I have a
very true. We make a collection of it. We are all your.
I really love those bottles with
Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah, with that very cute monkey.
We're also confident of the quality when we buy the product. So
yeah, I'll send some to Patrick as well. I think he's in the US, but he has Jamba juice and stuff. So yeah.
So we should really appreciate Mr. Patrick being with us. So what time is it now there, Mr. Patrick?
Luckily, this time I'm not in Chicago. I'm in California, so just 11:30 p.m. So
okay.
This also reminds one more thought. Can I share?
Please.
Yes, please.
Actually, as again Samrat has rightly pointed out, it's not only for from the perspective of a common man, but from the perspective of a student, because we are addressing students and the future startup founders. We need to have a balance. Very rightly he said. And I always admire a particular framework which says about 4 dimensions of a startup founder or a professional, any professional. It says about it's a corporate athlete model. It says about physical fitness is very important, because when a sound body in a sound mind in a sound body, physical fitness and intellectual. But mostly we are focusing on universities. We are focusing on intellectual, so that is given. So physical. And second, third, and fourth is spiritual and emotional. That's very, very important. So emotional is all about having a balanced, what do you call, emotions, and building relationships is very important for an entrepreneur or startup founder. And fourth one is spiritual, is nothing to do with religion, but to do with the purpose of life. That is what exploring. Really, Drunken Monkey, he is set with the purpose of making the world healthier, right? So every startup founder need to ask this question: what is the purpose of my startup and me? That's going to drive. And as Samrat rightly said, it's all about passion. If you're not passionate, you cannot be a successful entrepreneur or a startup founder. So these are some of the things which we need to inculcate in our students and whoever, not necessarily students, even faculty members who want to become an entrepreneur or a startup founder. And also, just looking at where the universities are tending, it is all about collaboration between faculty members and students, and we need to create more startups. So that should be the kind of thing, right? So you can collaborate with students and create more. And also, it is going to create value for the university.
Very true, very true.
So one totally different question. I don't know whether it's the right place to ask, but I want to ask Samrat, what's the deal with the name? Why Drunken Monkey?
So,
I think I asked the same question actually.
It goes with one of the films, right? Movie, Samrat Reddy.
Yeah.
Way back there was a movie, right? The Drunken Monkey.
Yeah, I know. So no, it's a martial art movie. Yeah, no, it's not regarding that. It's actually it's a pun on human beings. Basically, we claim that we are supposedly advanced versions of monkeys, right? But then we always see that humans are always sad, depressed. The monkeys are always happy and jumping on the trees and eating fruits. So basically, what Drunken Monkey means is our tagline is naturally high. It says that humans, it's very easy for us to be naturally high. We just need to just be natural in everything we do. And Drunken Monkey means that you can be drunk on life naturally without having any external substances. You just need to, like how sir's laughing right now, you just need to have fun. And in anything you do, you want to work hard in your business, have fun doing it. You want to work hard studying, have fun doing it. That's all. It's a simple formula, and that's what Drunken Monkey stands for. So we say Drunken Monkey, but we sell smoothies, and we have a monkey as a mascot. We just say go back to the roots. Don't go forward. You can use technology, you can use everything we know, but in terms of your mind and soul, go backward. In terms of everything else, go forward.
Got it. Great. Thank you.
But I think now many youngsters want to become entrepreneurs. They want to come up with their own startups. And I think all educational institutions are also giving the required support. So that's a very healthy trend. And I suppose, if people like you come and address our young crowd at colleges and universities, that would even motivate them a little more to become entrepreneurs.
I would
but
love
I don't
to come
think
in
it's a very
person.
easy task, starting your own
No.
show.
It's easy. It's easy. You just need to.
Because maybe you have already established. You say
no, not like that. You just need to be okay to fail. That is the difficult part.
That's beautiful.
That is the difficult part.
Very nice way of putting it.
You need to be okay to fail. Like that's the difficult part. I mean, even Patrick would agree, or everyone else would agree that it's like the fear why we don't start is because we think we'll fail. But if you're not going to judge yourself and say a failure is not going to define me, then it becomes a little bit more easier. Should not be worried about what other people will say or how the society is going to think if you fail something. Then it's a little bit more easier.
Mr. Patrick and Mr. Samrat, should both of us tell us when you are coming down to India, so that maybe we can, by the time if everything settles down, God willing, we should like to have you live on stage rather than live on this, on the electronic media. Please do it.
Sure, absolutely. Happy to. Like Shimima was talking about, there's a lot of interest in being entrepreneurial. I think this simple rule, what Samrat is pointing out, that kind of changes everything. It's just, when you start, especially the age, we have commitments, we have expectations from the society, family. Of course, if you're able to kind of plan it out on setting the expectations on, what's going to happen, I mean, you should not be losing your life also. But at the same time, really say, hey, what's defining that failure? What I can manage, like what I can manage now. Because what others will think or what I'm not fitting in that profile, all those things should be the secondary part, because entrepreneurs most of the entrepreneurs don't do it for fame, because they, like he's pointed out earlier, it's the love of that risk-taking mentality and loving of that failure and adjusting yourself. There's a lot of personality development in the process, however super confident you are, but then when you start the process, it's going to change you adapt to it, but then keeping that mindset is very I think it's fundamental. But one thing I wanted to also find out, I think in general, especially in the southern India, a lot of interest in Tamil Nadu and a lot of interest in social entrepreneurship. In general, people are so much into, I think Vice Chancellor also talked about, we got to take that as one of the thing. So it's good. But then the way we sometimes look at social entrepreneurship is just, oh, it's some charity work, or actually we don't have to. Social entrepreneurship is basically, I talked about the fact of, seeing people who we think cannot afford a particular thing. If you can create a product that they can afford, that is social entrepreneurship. So it's basically, it's not, charity is good, right? Charity is always good. But then whatever innovation that you're bringing to that local market, that has better chances of bringing people out of poverty or bringing prosperity to that environment, more than actually going and just giving money or food, right? So of course, there are people who need that. But then from an entrepreneur sense, you can be a social entrepreneur and also a successful business person. That's all I wanted to say. And also always see how can you innovate your local market so that you can actually bring more people. That's where the opportunity is there in India a lot, where there's so much of people who certainly cannot afford certain things. I think there is recently you can learn from micro insurance, for example. Insurance was always like a luxury product in India. Not everybody can afford it, or people were not even interested or paying attention. But then now if you kind of Google, if you research about micro insurance and what's a market that is actually creating in India, it's pretty good. That's amazing type of new kind of ventures where, people who don't even think about insurance now are getting insurance on certain things. So as a social minded person, you can actually spot opportunities and build a big business, and creating jobs, creating economic activity also qualifies you as a social entrepreneur. That's all I wanted to say.
That's great. That's great, actually. Social entrepreneurship is something which in India also we need to look at it in the same thing as business, not something different, which happens very much in the US.
Very true. It's seen that way. Economic activity is seen as creating economic activity is seen as a very positive thing.
Exactly.
To contribution towards society. Yeah.
Exactly.
Shami ma'am, I think we can allow Patrick to sleep now. Ma'am, you are on mute. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Yeah. Thank you for all your valuable points. It was such a learning experience, and we feel young at heart now, I should say, listening to you gentlemen speak this way. Okay, so much of learning we've had from you gentlemen, and thank you so much for all so patiently answering all our questions. Means a lot to us.
Thanks a lot. Thanks to Patrick, actually. He's the one who's doing the hard work for me. It's just normal time. Yeah.
No, we
compliment each other.
No, we learn from everybody, and some of the insights that you are providing, even the questions has something to learn. So we all learn from each other. It's a great opportunity. Thank you for having us.
Thanks everyone. Same here.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
much
you for
appreciated.
being with us. Kalevani ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's so kind of to hear the experience from all the eminent speakers. Definitely, our students are very much privileged to hear your experience. I think they will take it to their startup business. Thank you, and thank you so much for all your time. Now, I would like to call Dr. Suganya to deliver a vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. So good afternoon, one and all gathered here on this wonderful day. It gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this event and to all the dignitaries assembled here. I would like to thank all our great speakers who made the session very interesting with their great speeches. I also extend my thanks to the moderator who really made the session go lively and interesting. I thank our HOD, Dr. Prasiddha ma'am, for addressing the gatherings and taking part in the session fruitfully. Thank you so much, ma'am. I thank the conference coordinators for providing me such an opportunity to be a session in charge for this panel discussion. I also thank all the department staffs, students, and the participants for making this session very fruitful one. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, all of you. Bye.
Bye.
Ma'am,
Yes. Yes, Kalevani, ma'am.
what we can do, ma'am? Prabha, ma'am?
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, we
will
have come to
start
the end of the
session,
panel
ma'am.
discussion now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Again, we will join at 3:30 in this login, all of us.
And 12:30?
At 12:30, all the participants now who are in this session can move to the various sessions which are going to take place for the paper presentations. All the presenters, by 12:30, please assemble in your sessions so that we can start with the paper presentation. And once again, at 3:30, we join back into this login for the valedictory and the announcement of the best prize award.
Thank you, ma'am.
Prabha ma'am, you can put
Yes,
a
ma'am.
message into the chat box.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'll message to Amjad. Kabali, sir?
Ma'am, he is not here.
Mr. Amjad? He's not there, right? Ma'am, Kalivani, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you share the schedule in this platform, ma'am, so that the students and the delegates, they can see that.
1 minute, ma'am. 1 minute.
You have all the details, right? Try to share it in our chat box so that students or delegates, those who want to join in that particular session, they can go ahead. We just list the sessions as well as the Google Meet IDs.
1 minute, ma'am. Ma'am, Arasaraja have sent latest one. Arasaraja.
Ma'am, எனக்கு
1 minute, ma'am. 1 minute. Prabha, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Updated session details. 1 minute, ma'am. He has sent according to the session, ma'am. Is that okay? Ma'am, 1 minute, ma'am. I'll get it from Arasaraja and can I show you?
Yes, ma'am.
1 minute, 1 minute.